Welcome to We're Talking Bears,
where we bring you the latest in the Chicago Bears experience.
I'm Uncle,
nephew,
and I'm Son,
and we're talking Bears.
Man, this is an exciting and depressing week.
Man, I'm not depressed at all, man. I'm actually seeing a lot of things I'm happy about. You know, being Bears fans, man, it's tough, especially when you struggle to put anything in a trophy case in a while. I think what happens to the fans is we become real connected. You get what I'm saying? It's almost like having like a new family or something, and you get these guys in here like Roquan, best player on our team, been the best player on our defense for a while. So you hate to see him leave, because when you don't have much going, and that's it's been the highlight of your squad, it's like, oh, we don't want to see this guy go. But I mean, in reality, I look at a couple of things. We weren't winning with him. You get what I'm saying? And even with him out there, like you said, 5 tackles, the defense gives up 40 to Dallas. It's like, obviously 49. Something has to be done. Some 40, geez, you're right. But obviously something has to be done. And I commend Poles and them for having the confidence to go ahead and make those moves, because the fans aren't going to be on your side. Now is where they have to really show improve with picking the right youth, the right young talent, making the right moves with the cap room we have, and getting our team where it should be. I actually think our team is going to be better for this. Right now it's just tough because it's like, we just lost somebody close to us, and I think that's kind of what Bears fans are experiencing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with you. I mean, well, first of all, just that loss to Dallas. I mean, there's just no excuse for giving up 50 points. That's a basketball score. I thought I'm sitting there watching the Mavericks and the Bulls, and I'm like, why aren't the Bulls winning? And it's like, come on, man. That score is from the second quarter of a basketball game.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, yeah, but on the other hand, it kind of really made things clear for Poles, I think, because the trade deadline is looming. We've already moved Quinn, which we kind of saw coming since, the offseason. Right. What we really saw in that game was the changing of the guard. The monsters of the midway aren't on defense anymore. And we just got to let Justin be that monster. And we really got to unleash the beast on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's what Poles is trying to do. All of the subtractions that he's made, for the most part, have been on the defensive side of the ball. So now I'm really excited to see what additions he's going to do. We've obviously just got Chase Claypool as of like 2 hours ago, which is huge. That's an enormous target for Fields. I think Chase Claypool's game fits Justin Fields' game very well. He's a big target, a vertical threat, and a contested catch guy, which we do not have. And it's just good to see that the ownership is acknowledging that shift and starting to stack the talent where the talent already is, and I just want to see Fields grow. Obviously that's the dude. And I'm excited to see what Chase Claypool can bring to our offense.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's huge, and I think Claypool, he hasn't had a 1,000-yard season, and he was playing with Big Ben, so he
was playing with old Ben. Now that was more Ben Kenobi than Ben Roethlisberger at that point.
Oh, that's cold, but I will say, still, not needless to say, he's a good wideout. There's nothing taken away from that. He, without question, comes in and is our second best wideout, if not our best wideout, right? And that's going to be proven. And I actually like that competition point. I like the point where, bam, he comes in, he's our second best wideout. Harry now has to say, okay, you know what? I really have something to prove, because I'm not trying to beat EQ out. I'm trying to beat out Claypool. And Mooney has to, really step up and establish that this is his team as far as that wide receivers room. Mm-hmm. So, if Mooney can outplay Claypool, and Claypool can be at minimum what he normally is 800 yard a year guy, then that changes a lot. What I don't want to see is, unfortunately, what we've seen sometimes in the past is guys come to the Bears and we are so run focused that their numbers drop. So if Claypool becomes a 600 or a 500 yard a year guy, he then I don't know if we made the right choice, because realize hindsight's 2020, but Roquan's leading tackler in the NFL. That our defense is going to take a step backwards, 2 steps backwards, because even with Quinn not being much of a factor this year and having kind of a 2020 year, not a 2021 year, where he had 18 and a half sacks and almost 50 tackles. He's looking like 2020 where he had 2 sacks. But nonetheless, he is somebody you have to account for. When you line up, you have to account for him, and you have to make sure that somebody good is blocking him.
I agree with you. And I will point out, though, that while he is doing that, what he's not doing is pushing us into contention. What
Correct.
he's not doing is allowing the young players behind them to get those valuable reps they need so that they can get better. And if you watch where this team is trending, Quinn is not trending that same direction. And if you watch where this team is trending, also with Roquan's not trending that same direction either. Roquan is in a more win now mentality. He hasn't fully embraced, and the Dallas game kind of showed, he hasn't fully embraced this new defensive scheme, being the will linebacker. He's not scraping over the top the way he should. There were a couple of plays he got washed out. He's not engaging blocks when he needs to. He's still trying to run around them like he's an inside linebacker playing behind, some 300-pound guys. So it's really not the best fit for him. And I'm happier that we're making this move now before it's, a bigger problem in the offseason.
Well, yeah, if we went to the offseason, he becomes a free agent. We either have to franchise tag him or, try to sign and trade
and get a compensatory pick at best.
Well, yeah. But, that, and we definitely would get a compensatory pick for him if he walked. We get a nice compensatory pick. But, here you are. I'm looking at I don't necessarily think that you can backfill with a rookie. I'm looking at the inside linebackers that are available. And of the young ones, we've got Anzalone from Detroit, who I really like. I like that guy. When we played against Detroit, he was everywhere.
Well,
Anzalone's out there.
We picked up AJ Klein from the Ravens in exchange for Roquan.
And then I didn't know we actually got a human also.
I didn't know human. Yeah. So we get AJ Klein, a 2nd and a 5th in return from the Ravens and the Roquan pick. And then obviously we got Jack Sanborn, who's probably going to be moving to mid and letting
Morrow slide over
to Will. And then obviously we've still got our, Matt Adams and Joe Thomas, these guys. So
AJ Klein's been out there for a while. Obviously they didn't trade and give us 2 picks because he was equal to Roquan.
Nobody's equal to Roquan on
there.
But
you know what I'm saying? It just in general. You look at Klein. He's you look at his total number of tackles. I think his best season was 75 tackles or so. When in 2020 when he was with Buffalo, so he's decent, but that's not.
Yeah, that's what he is though. He's a plug and play replacement player for rotational spot duty this season, run support, pass defense. He's decent at both, and then we'll draft a guy who we will start to groom to be his replacement, probably in the later rounds. You can get quality linebackers, third, fourth round, no problem.
Hey, but if we're gonna do a free agent, Anzalone, I really like Anzalone.
Dude, I don't want to take nobody from the Lions, man. They are the worst defense in the league. Screw Anzalone, screw the Lions, screw their whole team. I don't want none of that.
Anzalone's a beast, man. So there can be Barry Sanders was on the Lions, and so was Megatron. So you can be a great player on a bad team, and the one thing about taking a great player from a bad team, that he has work ethic. Because you can't be a great player on a bad team if you don't have work ethic.
I mean, that's what the Ravens are saying about Roquan. So
I know.
Same. I'm not sure that's the guy I want to put my chips on. So I mean, we can look. I'm sure Poles has done his research and his homework, and he's looking at players. And Eberflus is a head coach, defensive-minded guy, so he's going to have guys that he's going to be floating up the chain too. So we'll see who they lean on. If it's Anzalone, then you'll get a W in your little we're talking Bears win column. But we'll see how that plays out.
No, what about, you look at the last couple of seasons for Claypool, 2020 and 2021, he's a pretty young guy, 873 and 860. So I'll even give him 9. He's knocking on the door of 900. He's over 850 for his first 2 seasons in the NFL. And I don't necessarily know that this season's starting off quite as well, but they're having a lot of troubles out in Pittsburgh. So,
well, yeah, they've got no quarterback out there. And so he's actually moving into a better quarterback situation than he's ever been in with Fields. Fields is by far the most talented quarterback he's played with. Roethlisberger had the talent when he was young, and then his arm talent just deteriorated as he got older, to the point where he was throwing the ball. I don't think he had air yards over like 20 or 30 yards for the last season he was there in Pittsburgh, 2021. Every pass was like 20 yards, 30 yards tops. Most of them shorter than that at the line of scrimmage. So
yeah, but people are arguing that about our boy JF. Not that he doesn't have the arm strength; he has the arm strength, but his completions a lot of them are short. A lot of his completions are.
That's because we don't have the downfield guys, and Chase Claypool is that. That's why. So we just saw Velus Jones drop. Yeah, but you can't have one downfield threat who can catch, because then you have 2 safeties and a corner on him. So this is going to open Mooney up, because the safety now has to pick what side he's going to defend. And if you put 2 safeties in the backfield, then okay, it's cool. So you got 2 safeties back there. You can cover them both. Now whoever's in the underneath is wide open. Komet is wide open, or Fields can just run. So
the other thing about Claypool,
that attack.
The other thing about Claypool that I like is the fact that he's bigger than Fields and just as fast. He's 6'4", 238. So he's 6'4", almost 240. He's tight end size.
Mm-hmm.
He's tight end size as a wideout, and I think that is gonna that makes a difference. We now we are big at the wideout position, and that should also continue to be good on our run plays. Having a big strong Mooney blocks fine. I got no Mooney blocks way above it. He punches above his weight class when it comes to blocking. But
problem is he's straw weight.
Yeah.
So it's only so high up he can punch.
Yeah.
Right.
But I like him. If he brings 900 yards a season to our offense in receiving, so I guess almost half the season's gone. So
that's huge.
That'd be 500 huge for the next half of the season he would need to do. That's enormous, and it really, he would be knocking on the door of, is he the number 1 for us?
Now, so here's the thing with that. Here's a stat that I looked up. It's really, really simple, but it's great. Mooney and Claypool entered the NFL the same year. Claypool is a 2nd-round pick. Mooney is a 5th. Who do you think has more yards between them?
Well, Mooney does, because he had that 1,000-yard season.
How many more?
it shouldn't be much because he was like 600
Give a
his
guess.
first.
The guess.
My guess is he's 100 yards more.
What'd you say?
What you-
Charles?
I said 150.
It's
100?
No, 6
6 yards. Okay.
Yeah.
6 yards more.
Mooney's got 2050.
makes sense.
Like as of right now, Mooney's got
That makes
2050.
sense.
Claypool's got I think 2044. So this is the 1A, 1B that we asked for. 100%. This is
Okay.
exactly that. Like toeing the line. You know, pushes Mooney. Mooney's got to prove he's the top dog, but they come in pretty much on equal footing. Claypool's got a couple more TDs just because he played with better quarterbacks early, but you know, right now they're almost as even as you can get. I think Claypool's got 12 or 13 TDs to Mooney's 8. So, but now when you've got this over the top threat with Claypool that DBs have to game plan for and back off for, one, you can use him on underneath routes a lot more often, and you can get those quick passes out like you were saying. But two, he just makes that deep ball so enticing. That big ball to EQ that we missed, you know, on that hike and go at the start of the Cowboys game. Claypool probably catches that, and the one to Velus Jones, Claypool probably catches that too. And you know, if you've got a guy that catches 2 40-yard balls in a game, you know, Mooney does whatever he wants underneath for the rest of the game. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing for Fields to give him a more balanced attack. We kept Montgomery. I like seeing that we did not trade Montgomery at the deadline. I heard some rumors that he might go to the Rams.
I would have been salty. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, me too.
I've been a little upset.
Well, I mean, I felt like we have a great running back room. I don't want to, and we have a truckload of money. And running backs aren't expensive, so you know, keep that chemistry.
It would have been a decent trade. I wouldn't have been upset if we did it, given Mooney's contract or Monty's contract status. But it was the one I read was potentially Monty to the Rams in exchange for a mid-round pick and Cam Akers, he's riding pine because he's in Sean McVay's doghouse, but he's a talented running back. A little bit of injury history in the past, but he seems to be over that. Like he looked explosive at the start of this year, but
but what are you gonna? I mean, what's the value? That's what I'm saying. Are we gonna improve our running back room?
Well, no, it would be a downgrade.
Yeah,
for our running back room, but it would give more touches to Khalil Herbert, who they kind of want to feature. He fits their scheme better, and he has been the more effective runner. So, but it keeps us with a power back, fills in another pick that we can use to shore up weaknesses throughout the rest of the roster. So I do understand it.
I'm gonna argue one of your words. I'm gonna call him a more explosive runner. It depends on down and distance, and if you're sitting in the red zone on near the goal line, I want Montgomery in there. I mean,
Same.
Herbert's been knocked back at the goal line. Demo is not happening.
No, I agree. And like I said, I'm happy we kept Montgomery. I hope that means that they intend to re-sign him at the end of the year. But the way that this kind of roster clean out is happening, I don't see that going that way. And I think Poles is going to let Monty walk in free agency, unfortunately, and then we're going to play the market or play the draft and try to get a replacement for the power back position.
And then I'm going to say, to me, that's foolishness because one, there's chemistry there. It works. He Fields trust him when he's dropping back. That Monty's got. That Monty's going to clean up any mess that comes his way. But moreover, I mean, it's a good running back room. We were doing something we haven't done in nearly a half century, which is 3 200-yard games back to back to back. And it's not just Fields. Fields is running like crazy, true, some of it for his life. But Monty's running. Khalil Herbert's running like crazy. I mean, we're running, so let's not. We've got enough problems. We don't need to create a problem.
I agree 100%. I was only saying that it wouldn't have been a horrible trade if he had done it, but the impact that Monty has to this offense, I think is worth more than Cam Akers in a fourth or whatever that would have been.
There you go.
I want to ask you all this, man. I'm used to the Bears being defensive. I know now the league is all points and passing and all of that. and we still run the ball, like you said. That's what we do. Historically, like we're running the ball extremely well right now. So I just what I'm afraid of course, we're retooling, we're rebuilding. I'm not upset about seeing guys like Quinn, Roquan, you get what I'm saying, guys that most likely won't be wouldn't have been present for us to make it where we're trying to go in this rebuild. But I'm afraid of getting away from being a team that can stop other teams. Like I do not 49. Like I remember we used to discuss, if the Bears can get 3 touchdowns, where we're in games, we got a great opportunity to win. That last night looked like, man, we scored 29 and we weren't close. And you get what I'm saying? And we really weren't able to stop anybody. We talked about how touching the game a little bit, we talked about how second quarters were looking bad for us. We won a second quarter, but we could not stop them. I remember looking in the box score, 14 each quarter, 14, 14, 14.
Man.
Why are they scoring on us like that? Like, why are they scoring on us? And like, when are we, because now we talked about the offensive line. We didn't really change the offensive line, but now the biggest issue is clearly defense. You know what I mean? It's like, so what are you guys expecting? What are you all hoping to see? I'm just nervous that we won't be a good defensive team anymore.
I hear you, but I'm not worried about that. And the reason I'm not worried about that is 2 words, is Matt Eberflus. Everywhere he has gone, good defense has followed. Literally everywhere. Dallas, great defense, great linebackers. He was a linebackers coach there. I think he moved up to like defensive coordinator near the end. Then he moved to Indianapolis, where they posted top 10 defense after top 10 defense year in and year out. So I'm really not too worried. I think once we get the players that he wants, like he needs a good defensive tackle. He had DeForest Buckner in Indianapolis. If we get a good penetrating 3 technique, like Tommy Harris style, that makes that Tampa 2 offense tick, right? We can't get any pressure up the middle right now. Everything we're getting, even out of Justin Jones, is looking like stunts, broken plays. Maybe once in a while he'll make like a really great play to slip a block. But when you have consistent pressure up that gut, when you have good ends that are able to contain run and also rush the pass on 3rd downs, that's what makes that defense tick. When they have to make that quick decision and get the ball out, and there's 8 guys looking back the other way, 7 guys looking back the other way, depending on the coverage call, and so I think the defense will improve as we get the players there.
I hope you're right. I know we're taking a step back right now, but I hope you're right. Hey, let me toss something up, and I want you guys to guess at what I'm tossing up here. Get that graphic on the screen. What is that?
That's a great question. The
What's
Fibonacci sequence.
No. Souls, what you got?
This looks like those numbers in the Matrix when Neo was staring at the computer. And is this when they said the world was supposed to end? What year? 2000?
Being real cryptic.
I think it's
Y2K.
This actually tells us when we move to Arlington Heights. No, I'm just kidding. Bam.
Ouch.
Yep.
So like, man.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say like something happened at the Dallas game, and it wasn't all Robert Quinn. I mean, we were shutting people out. The other thing is when you look at NFC East teams, the Giants and the Dallas, we didn't shut them out any quarter, even though we should have beaten the Giants. But in general, we're pitching a lot of shutouts in quarters, which is a really good sign. I mean, that's a good sign. You against the Patriots, we got close to shutting them out the whole game, except for giving up the 2 touchdowns to the rookie. But I think that's really, really important to see that we are you got to work towards shutting somebody out for a whole season. I mean, for a whole game. And I think when you have a good defensive season, you're going to see some shutouts or very close 3-point games, stuff like that. That's kind of, where the Bears are when we're Super Bowl ready. And I think we were working towards it and we just jumped away from it. And which is okay because our offense wasn't Super Bowl ready, but our defense wasn't, and our run defense wasn't, but we have to move towards being great. Let me give you one more graphic. This one hurts really bad. It's about the Dallas game.
Oh boy.
And yeah, these are the worst games in Chicago Bears history. Worst. And where we just let another team
Worst
run
according
wild.
to what? What's the
I mean, just
the score, it looks like.
right.
Yeah, from the score, the amount of points we've given up. And every once in a while it's happened, but doggone it, it's happened a lot after 2000. I mean, you take there's 2014, just a terrible year. This year 2002, but then
there's
that,
2 from 2014.
yeah, but before that, you might have one every 20 years or so. Except for, what I mean, here's 64 and 65, so they were struggling then too. But we need, something's got to give. And I think that when you see something like this, Poles has to do something. Poles has to make decisions. Poles has to make changes. The fact that he got rid of maybe our best defensive player, but honestly, if this happens and Roquan's our best defensive player, then that's telling you change has to occur.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really, really amazing defensive talent on the D line, at edge rusher in this coming draft, and we're poised to pick up a lot of it. That's for sure. Then on top of that, this move to get Claypool early in the season, one that helps expedites Fields' development, which is shifting resources, I think, to the direction they need to be shifted to. Roquan was great, but Roquan's not helping Justin. And this season was supposed to be about Justin from jump. Obviously, salary cap issues and team needs and whatnot played into that, and Poles played the hand he was dealt. But now we're starting to see his plan starting to come together, and it coincides with Justin's own development. Him taking that step forward and leading this offense with nobody on it. That really puts the onus on your GM to be like, yo, get this dude some help, and he did.
Right.
But what that does is that frees him up to use his first round pick, or trade back, or to select a defensive guy who can bring some immediate help to the D line and whatnot early.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously need, that lightens the stress for using a pick on a wide receiver. But we gave a pick up for a wide receiver,
which is a notorious gamble, by the way. Wide receiver first round picks do not have a very high hit rate, unfortunately.
Right, and that's a gamble. But so now we can, we're going to find out. We're going to find out if our pickup from the Raiders is decent. I'm assuming that he will start to get on the field some, find out what he looks like. And, then, I mean, we still need to pick up somebody for the offensive line with the draft, but we can go in and probably safely do a heavy defensive draft. We still need to grab a wide receiver to go into the mix, but, with Claypool and hopefully N'Keal Harry continues to grow. He's his past few games, he just get a little more. All he needs to do is be a number 3. If Harry can be a number 3, or EQ is I consider EQ playing like a 3-4 wide receiver right now. One of the 2 of those guys needs to step up and be a legit number 3. And we have our top 3 receivers, and they're good. Yeah. And so we need to work on that line, and we can draft a defensive line and some linebackers, because I feel like we have our secondary. Feel good about our secondary. And I think we're competitive, and we're going to get some free agents. I don't think we're going to sit on $130 million worth of spending. I mean, we're going to pick up some playmakers.
I think we're going to go after a lot of defensive talent in free agency as well. I think there's more to it. I got to double check and go over the free agent lists, and just see who's likely to come out. Some teams have more cap space to re-sign people, et cetera, et cetera. But man, there's a not insignificant chance we could get Roquan back. I'm not even joking about that. That
Yeah.
is not so. So I looked into it. The Ravens, from last I heard, are not close to re-signing Lamar, which means there is a very high chance he gets franchised instead of being re-signed. If he gets franchised, Roquan walks. But I think they're not going to trip too much about that, because if he walks, they don't have too many other free agents expected to leave, and they don't really have a lot of holes to fill. So they're probably going to get a 3rd round pick back as a compensatory, which they probably would be okay with. Give up a 2nd, get back a 3rd. In which case, Roquan will be free to sign with any team he chooses. I don't know if he's going to come back here, but like you said the other day, you were talking to me on the phone, depending on his relationship with the McCaskies, which seemed very, very strong, there's a non-zero chance that he could get that back. And if he does, man, that would be a coup.
Yeah, it would be a cool. I mean, you basically stole 2 picks from somebody.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, it's like,
That would be nice, actually. That would be nice.
That would be wild. That would be the master stroke of all masters. I don't know if Poles is that good.
I don't know.
Try.
I don't know, but that's kind of like borrowing a car from Hertz and getting to keep the car and getting your money back.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Hey, I wanted to ask you all, though, I know we're talking a lot about the Bears front office moves, GM moves, and what the team is going to look like in the future. But let's talk about the game a little bit. I want to get you all's take on. I felt like, man, our offense in 1 week, like maybe overnight, something happened, man. We were moving the ball. The struggle that we've been seeing, I didn't notice that this time. For me, I felt like they put Fields on the attack a little bit more. The fact that for the last couple of weeks, like we've been talking about, they've designed plays for him to put the defense on their heels. He'll snap the ball, he'll get out, take off running, or they'll make some plays where they can quickly get on the defense and get them going in the opposite direction. I think that kind of makes the defense stay honest, and it opens some things up for Justin. What do you guys think? Because defense obviously let us down this game, and the offense came and did their thing, I feel like.
yeah, you can't. If you score, I mean, honestly, I call it, we scored 29 on the board, but let's be honest, we really were at 34. And I say that because we got probably the best kicker outside of Robbie Gould in the NFL. We would have kicked both of those extra points if we weren't so far behind, and we'd have kicked a field goal at the end.
No, hold on. Justin Tucker is the best kicker in the NFL, not Robbie Gould. I love Robbie Gould.
All right.
Justin Tucker is the best kicker in the NFL.
All right, whatever, man. I'm giving Bears props, okay?
I feel he's not a Bear no more.
He's not a Bear no more.
All right. He's still the Bear in my heart. He's still Bear in my heart.
That's fine.
Right.
We accept this.
All right. The offense did it. The offense did his job, but it comes on the heels of the 3rd 200+ yard game on the ground. And you sit back and when you're well over 200 yards on the ground. I mean, Khalil had 99, Fields had 60, Demo had 53, and Velas had 33 on 2 carries. Mm-hmm. So, we ran the ball down their throats. We only got 17 catches, but here's the good news. Mooney had 5 catches for 70 yards. N'Keal Harry had
secondary.
N'Keal Harry had 2 catches for 24. Hey, we add Claypool into the mix. If he can get the same thing as Mooney, that makes us a lot more dangerous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We like that on the outside to give us that extra bump on the passing game. But like you said earlier, man, he's also going to give us a big bump on the running game. Imagine a run play with him and N'Keal Harry blocking. That's 5 tight ends.
Yeah. I mean, you get Velas Jones coming around the corner and Claypool leading them.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
You might Velas run stats might be ridiculous. We may be able to forgive his inability to hold on to the ball when it's in the air.
I don't know if we're gonna forgive that entirely.
No. Catch the ball, kid. Catch the ball.
That's your job. You're not a running back, sir.
Right.
You're a wide receiver.
Yeah. But I mean, we still, again, though, with all that said, we've got to Fields has to be throwing more than 200 yards, a game.
Has to is a strong phrase. I think what Fields has to do is have the option to continue like they've been doing to run or pass in those situations, especially on critical downs, because his legs are such a weapon that him having the option to run opens the pass. And if he chooses to run because you fade back and he just runs, gets a first down, walks out of bounds, runs, I don't care. Cool. You have to figure out how to stop that. And if they can't stop us, and we're going to have, Fields going to have 80 to 100 yards a game on the ground, or, cool, then I'll take that, because a safe, easy, effective yardage doesn't put anybody at risk. No, there's very little risk of turnovers. It allows them to play a safe, efficient game and keep our offense on the field. I'm totally okay with us just running the ball down people's throats.
Yeah, and we did. It was 240 total yards on the ground.
And would have had more, but I think Ebner netted -5. So,
but he's the rookie. What are you gonna do? He gets to sit around.
Let him watch and learn, right?
Yeah, because but you get 240 on the ground, you're supposed to win. You're not supposed to lose getting 240 on the ground. We just,
what I think this is that for once. We've been talking about the Bears' woes and things we needed to correct for a while now, and I finally feel like we've got it together. I feel like Poles and them have us going in the right direction. Even though this was an ugly loss, giving up 49 points, I'm excited about the things that are happening now for the second week in a row. I mean, Quinn gone, Rowe gone, lost the game. I can't say I'm as frustrated as I've been in past seasons, and because I feel like we're doing the right things. And even though we see we're losing, I see that we're gaining also, and we're gaining with the young pieces that we have. So, it's bittersweet really for me right now. I'm just waiting to see what we're going to do next. I think we have Miami. Is it Miami we have coming up?
We have Miami, and Miami is beefing up to try to battle Buffalo and Kansas City. So they were very active in the trade market.
Yeah, they just picked up
some things.
I think I want to say Jeff Wilson and Bradley Chubb or something like that.
Sounds about right.
And that's a huge pickup. Bradley Chubb is a monster on the end. He's almost 280 pounds at DN, or outside linebacker rather. And that man plays fast. Like, he's not like Micah Parsons fast or anything like that. But for a man his size, he moves. And that is scary.
You know what? Speaking of Parsons, one of the things that I would say, for Dallas, I know we did give up 4 sacks to Dallas, but you know what? As bad as some of the games have been as far as blocking, and the fact that we've got several injuries on that offensive line, that actually wasn't a bad performance. It wasn't bad. Let's say,
because O-line, you're saying, it was serviceable.
Yeah, which is a big sentence. That's growth for our O-line. It hasn't necessarily been serviceable. There have been several games this year where it's just been, come on, man, that would have been the rating.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying, you want your franchise quarterback sacked 4 times and on the run a lot, but it's just
when it's a step up from 9. When we played the Browns, come on, man, I'm with you. And that's what I'm saying with bittersweet.
Right. And even with Fields, with his running, he only had 8 carries, and some of those were design carries. So that's actually feels like it's down even from last week, where they were emergency runs. You know what I mean? Where he's running where he's just trying to get out of there. Like several of those, I think in my head, at least 3 were design runs. Am I correct on that?
I know it was a few.
Quarterback, he had the touchdown. That was a design run. He had a dive that went nowhere. That was a design run. There was a little RPO that went nowhere. He got maybe 4 or 5 yards off. Yeah. I think the rest were scrambles because he had.
So then that's I look at that. That means that he had 23 attempts, and he had 5 design runs, and I mean five emergency runs and 4 sacks. So he really dropped back to pass 32 times, right?
Something
So
like
yeah, you know what I mean? So that's what I've kind of been looking at is like, how many times did he drop back thinking I'm going to throw this ball? And it didn't work out. So he dropped back, 32 times. And, honestly, he ran 5 of the times and threw for 17. So even of all his dropbacks, he's even over 50% of completions for total dropbacks.
he was over 70%
That's well,
completion.
no, I mean, well, you're talking
attempt.
about where he
But
actually
if you
threw the
include
ball.
if you include the runs, right? So the runs, he had 5 runs, so that's what, 28, 20. So then you include, I mean, then you account for the fact that he had 1 throwaway where he just tossed it after a play died, and then he had the drop by Velas. Man, that dude barely missed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
just the
well,
cover.
I'm not gonna put the runs on that because some of the times there have been times in games where he's just panicked and ran. And I understand why he's panicking and running. I'd have panicked and run because it's
got
just
barred.
like there's 4 guys trying to converge on the same spot and smash you in 4 different directions. You need to run.
Dad,
but
you're a little bigger. You probably need to go to Dante Culpepper route and just try to truck him and then throw the ball.
I'm gonna truck somebody. Let me
You just
truck
don't got
one
the
dude.
legs like that.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? When you look at that and you look at those numbers, he is, it is growth. It is growth because he was completing 50% of the passes he threw. That didn't count the sacks and the times he ran.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was completing way less than half of the dropbacks. Now, like literally, he dropped back 32 times to throw the ball and he completed 17. So he's over 50% of total dropbacks, even that are completions. That's even including the times he ran. So I think as that number climbs, our offense gets way more dangerous because now it's not just like drop back, he might run. It's like drop back,
Right. Yeah.
The safety's got to stay put, especially with Mooney and Claypool. I got to stay put because this guy, he might run, but he might throw it.
Right. And you're starting to see though that teams have to respect that. So when they do, they have to be looking at him. They have to keep the safeties in zone. They've got to keep linebackers in zone, and that gives him simpler coverages to dissect. And that's just going to bump up our passing numbers now that he's got an additional weapon. And then to kill Harry back. So he's got several weapons that he didn't have, when he was throwing them 50% completion games, that can bail him out in times where he really just, he's got to throw something up. And you'll see his passing numbers improve as he gets his, chemistry down with those bigger guys who can win those contested catch situations.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Claypool is on his way to Chicago to get up here and toss the ball with Fields.
He better be.
Right.
Better be out there.
Look, I'm sure he is. Look, he better be.
Yeah. He needs to be. He needs to be at Hallis Hall tomorrow morning, working out with the guys.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
Because
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. In Chicago, we're spoiled. I talked to guys about the Bears and try to tell them, I think Poles and the guys they're making the right moves. It looks like from where I'm sitting, but man, you got to realize how spoiled Chicago sports fans are, man. And it just carries over. It's all the teams. Think about it. When you get Michael Jordan in '84, and then it's like, oh, when we draft, we get Scottie Pippen. When we go to free agency, give us Dennis Rodman. It's like, yeah, man, that's what we're used to. We draft guys like Urlacher, and you get what I'm saying? That's what we're used to. So when you talk to these Bears guys, they're like, oh, you did this, you gave up your best player, and it's like, all right, be patient. Give these guys a chance, give them an opportunity to put the right guys together, and then watch how we do. I'm excited about what's going on for us right now. I don't have much to critique. Well, I do. We could critique the game all the time, but we're putting the talent in place. So some of the things that we're having issues with are like expected. You get what I'm saying? So we don't sit and harp on that all day long. I'm just excited to see what they're gonna do moving forward. And it's finally looking like, you know, in the time to come, maybe by next season, we should legitimately be the team that we've been expecting us to get to.
So
I know.
we're entering November now, looking forward, looking ahead. We just picked up a wide receiver threat. Our offensive coordinators figured out how to use Fields, but at the same time, we've dismantled the last of, you know, what's good about our defense, save the secondary.
Right.
How do you see this November going? Right. So we've got Miami coming up, then we've got the Lions, then we got the Falcons, then we got the Jets. That's our November. How do you guys see that going?
I mean, you know what? Honestly, I think it really has to. We have to see what happens at linebacker. Obviously, Morrow is probably going to be Roquan, because he's done that job before, and we really got to see what happens. I think that we're not going to get any better against the run. Right. I don't think we are. Maybe we do. If we do, I'm surprised, but I don't think we're getting any better against the run. I think teams are going to continue to run it down our throat. We don't really, we're not getting any better at pass rush. So, you know, I think teams are going to, our cover guys are going to have to cover for a long time. I think it matters how fast Gordon learns. Right. If we can become 4 lockdown defensive backs, then we can control the score of the game. If we still, you know, are basically 2 lockdown defensive backs and 2, you know, pretty good guys, we're going to have a tough time. I mean, we didn't get better defensively, and we were winning on defense. We have gotten better offensively, but we're still not good enough to just chase people down and blow them up. We can't drop a 50 yet. We're not in that range. Although offensively, Khalil Herbert is murdering it, averaging 6.2 a carry for the season. For the season, he's murdering it. You know, so that is wow. You know, what can you say? But you know, offensively we're getting better. But you know, are we at the point where we're going to average, you know, 35 points a game? No, I don't think so.
I mean, I would say we're not as far away from that as you think. The way we're using Fields right now, defenses have not come up with an answer for him. We've seen now 3 very talented defense that Fields just run around and just play sandlot football and done whatever with a very limited offensive cast. Now we've got Claypool that now we're going to hit on more of those deep balls and 50-50 balls that, you know, how many balls have we seen him throw up into the end zone that have been dropped? I count like 6 this year alone. Then there's deep throws that have been dropped, and I've counted 3 to 4 of those. So, like, you know, you want to talk about putting up 35 points a game. The last couple games, we're averaging 31. So we're not as far away from that as you're making it seem. If Fields can sustain this level of play for any length of time, man, we got a dog on our hands.
Well, look, I mean, you know what? From your lips to God's ears, I hope that's right. You know?
I'm just saying, those are 2 of the best defensive
football guys
that we just destroyed for 33 and 29. So, man, it's really hard. And I predicted this a long time ago, man. Once you really start utilizing Fields' athleticism properly in the scheme, and once you start, you know, running these run plays where, you know, you're really playing with the mesh point between him and the running back, that is murder on a defense to deal with. Everything in the NFL is like read it, understand it, go on defense.
Well, yeah, and then when you have
go and you got to make the right choice. Now you've got 11 guys that have to make the right choice on some very, very ambiguous rub concepts and mesh concepts in the backfield. And then they've got a guy running 4-4 in both directions. So
yeah, I mean, that's
really hard to deal with.
Speed kills, and you know, like you said, I mean, you want to, from a defensive standpoint, you want to get things down to the point where the defender doesn't have to make a decision. Just feel, Lovie Smith, just play your gap, man.
Right.
Play your gap. Well, that's not going to work against us.
No,
You're going to have to make a choice, and you're going to have to make it in real time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, man. We're not as far from 35 points a game as you want to believe. If we can maintain 190 yards a game.
Yeah, that's why I said we gotta throw for 200. I mean, let's hope Claypool's that difference. If he comes in and catches 60 yards, 60, if he gets 50 to 60 yards a game over the last 9 games, let's call it 60 is what I'd love to see. If he gets 60 yards a game over the last 9 games, and that is in addition to what everybody else has gotten, we're in that 200 yards passing, and that makes all the difference in the world.
If you can pull one 30 to 50 yard deep ball in a game, we're already at 200 yards. That's it. That's the only thing he has to do. Show up, be on the field once for 1 second, catch a 40-yard pass, we're over 200 yards a game passing, because we're already at like 170 a game. You know what I mean?
And I don't feel like we have to. I don't feel like we have to change our passing mix, because as you guys keep noting, there's a lot of drops. There's a lot of drops, and so I think Claypool's gonna catch more of those balls that are hitting the ground, and so maybe we pass an extra 4 or 5 attempts a game. That's not going to change the nature of the team we are. We basically are going to still be the same team, but assuming we give him 8 targets and pretty much give everybody else almost what they got, just taking a few away, a couple away, you're going to get more catches and more yards and less drops.
That's the plan.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I don't know how that doesn't happen. If that doesn't happen, my jaw hits the ground, because Claypool.
As long as Pettis doesn't come out there and put on the Claypool jersey and think that we're throwing the Claypool, then I don't know. Drops may continue. No, I'm sorry. You're right, man. Pettis is one of our guys. I should not be doing him like that. Actually, we're talking Bears, but man, oh man, he's definitely.
But he actually caught like 4 balls last game.
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't think he caught 4. He caught like 4 the game before that, though, right?
He caught 4. He caught 4.
Did he? Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been showing up a lot more lately. He even fought for that 1 ball on 4th down to not let that be an interception. He didn't want to get punked twice.
Yeah. That was it. And I'm glad. Give me this.
Because he got punked before, and I'm sure it was tough coming back in the locker room after getting punked. So I mean, he went beyond the call of duty, because that was a pick, and he just took it back from the dude. He was like, hey, I've seen this game before. Right. Give me that ball.
Yeah. And that was a good move by him, man. Respect, hats off to Pettis for that.
Yeah,
I forgive you for the drops because of what you did there.
No, I'm not going to
forgive him for the early.
You still got a little bit more to do in my eyes.
You got a little more to do.
You got to keep
working your way
but
back.
You're forgiven. You're forgiven for sure.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't think there's much more to say about the Dallas game, but thank God it's over.
Thank God it's over.
I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be looking too much better against Miami, man. I gotta admit, this was one that looks like we might take an L here, man. Their offense is crazy.
They're tough.
And they got Tyreek Hill, they got Jalen Waddle. Ooh, man.
Yeah, but Detroit held them to 31. I mean, we just can't.
Them.
Yeah,
to 31. Okay.
Look, what are we just having this conversation about? I feel like the way the offense is clicking the last 3 games, if we can do the same thing, the defense really only has to hold teams under 30.
The problem is none of our DBs, save really Eddie Jackson, have like long speed. And none of them have long speed in the way that Tyreek and Jalen Waddle do. Those are both low 4.3, high 4.2, if that. Guys, Tyreek's probably low 4.2, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm not taking
nobody here that runs faster than a 4.4.
I'm not taking anything away from him, but DBs are always slower than receivers. I mean, that's just the nature of the game. But I mean, these guys are some of the fastest receivers ever, right?
Exactly. I'm just saying they can put up points in a hurry, and we just sold the other heart and soul of our defense. So you want to talk about an emotional letdown for the defense? This is that game. So
they've got it. Now it's time for the one advantage I think we have. The one advantage that I think we have is guys like Sanborn want to prove that they are starters.
That's it. That's got to be it.
That's got to be it. So guys are coming in off the bench going, hey, they're letting dudes go, and this is my chance to make my name in the NFL.
Yep.
And they've got to, hey, you know what? That's a fantastic occurrence. You know, you can have who was our boy, our running back who came in, Jordan Howard. Remember Jordan Howard's first play from scrimmage? He came in, the running back was injured or whatever, and they let him on the field, and he came in, picked up 40, and that was it. It was his job from then on. I mean, literally broke for like a 40-yard run on his first play.
I mean, and hopefully Sanborn can step up, but I don't know if he's going to really have much effect on Tyreek Hill, to be honest.
No. Sanborn's not going to have an effect on Tyreek Hill, but what if he can slow the run game? You know, what if he's
then they're going to throw it over our heads. Yeah, I'm really not. I have very little confidence. Put it that way.
No, I'm just throwing out wild.
What if when I go to sleep Saturday night, I dream the Bears win this game big?
Yes.
And, I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
Any given Sunday, guys.
I agree. It would take a serious offensive showing to keep up with them, though. That's what I'm saying. And
you know what? And
hopefully
I'm not saying we need to win. Obviously, we're tanking in some ways on purpose. But if we could have some serious offensive showings and run with some of these guys, that would be great. That would be growth. I mean, yeah, if they beat us, 35-33, I'm actually not that angry.
Yeah, same.
I'm like, yeah, we ran with them. That says something.
It's a new creative way to lose for the Bears.
I'll take that over getting mollywopped, giving up a 50
any day.
Man, come on.
I mean,
we'll see. It's our time, man. We're bearing down. Things is looking up. Things are going well. We lost some players, but hey, we looking good, man. I'm excited. I'll be the first to see it. I'm gonna predict a W for us this weekend because I always do. I'm taking us by 3. I'm not gonna say we're gonna destroy them by 3. It might be a close one. And I think the offense is gonna come out and do their thing.
I think we're gonna go probably 28-35, somewhere in that range, and we're gonna unfortunately have to ride this L train.
Well, you know what? I want to predict a W2, but I think the green line, the red line, and the brown line are really going to control this. So we're going to be on the L.
Yeah. Whatever, guys. Whatever.
Hey, look. Hey, we need that optimism, man. We need that optimism.
Just score 30 again. Yeah. If we score 30 again, we gave up 2 of our best defensive players. If we lose, we lose. But if we score 30 again,
our offense is coming alive, and I'm
okay. I'm okay. I can live with it.
I say Chase Claypool catches 2 touchdowns in his Bears debut.
Ooh.
That would be amazing.
That's what I want to see.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Darnell Mooney catch 2 touchdowns, because
why not? They can have all the touchdowns today. 4 touchdowns for Justin Fields. You heard it here first.
I'm going to say that I'm not saying that Chase. I'm saying Chase is more of a few catches and a decoy as he gets, warmed up. But drawing some of that attention away from Mooney, I want to see Mooney get loose, because he finally got somebody out there that's equal to him, so that they can't just sit on him.
Yeah, agreed.
So I want to see Mooney run away into the end zone and dance.
Let's go. Let's
Dirty Mooney. Let's go, Mooney. This is a Darnell Mooney stand account.
Yep.
Darnell Mooney stand account.
Got to make us look good.
Yep. If you guys are liking our content, remember, like, subscribe, share, see us on Twitter. We're always putting polls up, always engaging with the community out there. We want to hear from you guys. We want to hear what you guys want to hear us talk about. If you got any questions or whatnot, we got a lot of resources over here. So,
tell your friends about us.
Yep.
Pass the word around.
Mama,
Tell them about the best fan-sided show going.
Yep.
And tell them how I predict a win every week. Tell them about that. That'll get them here.
Yep. Tell your cousin, uncle, mama, baby, daddy.
Yep. There you go.
So
well, I'm uncle.
Tell Poles. And I'm nephew.
I'm son.
And we're talking Bears.